Give Me Your Thumb is not a bad episode of Two and a Half Men. Definitely not a personal favourite because it's very Chelsea heavy. And I just find Chelsea to be not a funny character. But there are some good moments. This is the 6th episode of the 7th season of Two and a Half Men. This is directed by James Widdoes. And as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode chronologically and share some thoughts. And this one starts off with Chelsea and Alan in the kitchen. Chelsea's having some back pain. And we do actually have quite a nice moment between, I guess, Chelsea and somebody who could potentially be her future brother-in-law, where Alan, as a chiropractor, helps her out and gives her a back adjustment, I guess. And he asks her when the pain began, and it's established that it was probably around the time she started developing breasts. And he just suggests maybe she might want to consider a breast reduction if the pain is that severe and that frequent. And at that moment, Charlie sits up in bed because he senses there's a problem, which I did think was quite funny. And Charlie out, Alan suggested. Needless to say, Charlie's not happy and hurts Alan, and Charlie ends up giving Chelsea a massage to try and help her back pain, which, to be fair, maybe he could have done that sooner. I'm not saying it would have resolved the back pain, but it would have been a nice thing for him to do. But I guess it's nice to see him making the effort, even if it's for his own selfish needs. And he has told Alan to leave because he doesn't want to be around Alan after what Alan suggested. So Alan goes to Evelyn's, and I feel like the scenes with Evelyn were not too bad. I think we could have got a little bit more out of them, but I did like how they developed. We'll come back to Alan and Evelyn in a moment. Charlie and Chelsea then go to find out about this procedure, and Charlie's feeling the different breast implants or the breast molds. I don't know if that's the right word for them. And yeah, it's a bit of an odd scene. I don't love it, to be fair, but it's a bit bizarre, but it's fine. And Evelyn and Alan are then signing paperwork. Alan is pretending to be the inspector. Well, Evelyn's making him pretend to be the inspector. And then Evelyn did something that I thought was so fun, because initially I didn't know what she was doing. She said that they could go out shopping and she'd buy him some things, and I thought, okay, this is very nice of Evelyn. This is quite peculiar. And then she ramps it up and up and up, and she's being very nice to Alan and invites him to stay with her permanently, which I think is not what anybody would have expected. And that's when things got really suspicious. And then she says, well, we can come up with a plan, and when I'm older I'm not going to be able to take care of myself, but you'll be around, so it's okay. And then it became very obvious what she was doing. She was trying to get rid of Alan by being too kind and too welcoming, and then saying he would have to basically give her a sponge bath. So he fled, of course, and it was funny. I liked where it went. Again, I wish maybe they'd done a little bit more with that, but obviously the episode is only so many minutes, and I don't really think, as much as I didn't love most of the scenes with Chelsea, I don't think they could have really removed anything. I feel like everything served a purpose. So more just wishful thinking than actually a criticism or anything. And then we come to the end of the episode. I haven't had that many thoughts. We had, I guess, a nice moment with Berta and Jake at one point, but other than that, there wasn't really anything in this. Other than that scene with Evelyn and Alan, there wasn't anything that I really, really enjoyed. But the final scene was okay, I guess, and they go to the procedure. Chelsea's there, but Charlie's with her for moral support, so that's, credit, again, where it's due. Charlie was there for her, but obviously being very selfish about it, and he said, I will support you. And then he mentioned that when her breasts are smaller, it'll draw attention to her butt. And I guess Charlie had a good point. If your butt's the biggest asset, then that's what your eyes are going to be drawn to. Whereas if somebody has larger breasts, then they're going, I guess, Charlie explained it better than I did. Well, actually, he said if you chop down the tree, you look at the rest of the garden, which, yeah, I get it. It kind of makes sense. But Chelsea had never considered that. And she doesn't want people to look at her butt. So she's not going through with the procedure. And, well, I feel like that's very selfish of Charlie. And I don't think Chelsea made the right decision just because of her butt. I don't think you should put off getting pain-reducing procedures just because you're worried people will then start to look at other parts of your body. But then one could argue if she went through with the breast reduction, it might make her then brave enough to do modifications on her butt if she's feeling insecure about that, and then it could snowball and get out of hand. It's quite common for somebody to get one cosmetic procedure and then realise, well, they've done it once, maybe I could change this about myself and this about my body. So maybe it would have just snowballed after that if she'd went through with it. But at the same time, very selfish of Charlie. I didn't really find any comedy in any of the scenes with Charlie and Chelsea. I don't dislike Chelsea. I just don't think she's funny at all. I don't know if she's ever said or done anything that I've genuinely laughed at. I could be wrong, there might be something, but in general, I just find her to be really boring, and to have even just one character in a sitcom who provides no comedy. Again, comedy is subjective, so some people might love her, but to have one quite prominent character who produces no laughter for the viewer means that that's a good chunk of time when there's just no comedy. And I just don't love it. So maybe some people find her funny. Comedy is subjective, but I don't care. I don't find her interesting. I don't dislike her. I don't want anything bad to happen to her. I know ultimately what happens, of course, but I just don't care about her very much. So those scenes were not that amusing to me. And Charlie's behaviour was believable for the character, but not the most comfortable to watch. But the scene with Alan and Evelyn, I guess, made up for it. So not a favourite episode, but nothing really wrong with it. Give Me Your Thumb is ultimately a pretty good episode of 2.5 Men. I wouldn't skip it if I was binge watching season 7, but I would never choose it either. I'd never seek this one out. It's okay, it's fine, I don't love it, but it's not too bad.